All right, let me show you something pretty exciting here. I got this Elvira in Monsterland Ashcan Edition today here on April 18th, even though issue number 1 doesn't go on sale till May 17th, a month away, and I got it for free. Now, the reason why I got this is because, like I said in the last video, I got a pull service at my comic store. You see, let me set this aside for a second. I went in last week on a Tuesday and saw this comic here, Frank Frazetta's Tales of Science Fantasy, issue number 1, and they had one copy of it. I didn't know this was going on sale. I hadn't heard of this, and I've talked to the Frazettas, and they didn't mention this comic was coming out. I took a picture of it, sent it to Sarah Frazetta, Frank's granddaughter, and said, hey, didn't know about this. And, well, it wasn't supposed to come out until the next day, you know, Wednesday, new comic book day. But my store, of course, gets them on Tuesday. So I snatched it up and I said, add this to my pull service. And I gave them a whole list of all the comics I want to get for my pull service. So let me set that aside. One of which is Elvira in Monsterland, coming out next month. And so, because I have it in my pull service, they got this Ashcan Edition and threw that in with my stuff. And here it is a month early, not only a month, but another day as well, because even this isn't supposed to come out till tomorrow. And if you order it online, it shows it comes out April 19th. Wednesday, and it would be $15. Well, I got it a day early for free. I'll cover this in a second. See, I want to show you a few more things. Here's one of the new comics coming out that's now in my pull service, Dungeons & Dragons, the Saturday Morning Adventures. Look at that, issue number 1. Remember these guys? They showed up in the new movie, Dungeons & Dragons Honor Among Thieves. Did you go out and see this movie? Man, this is such a great film. I love this movie. Been waiting forever for them to finally do a Dungeons & Dragons movie right. And boy, they really hit it out of the ballpark. I hope it was the number 1 film. So forget about hoping it was successful. It was successful. It was the number 1 film in the theater. Man, I can't wait till they start making sequels. This needs to be a great new franchise. So this is one of the new comics coming out and going to be in my pull service every month. Now, as I showed you in the last episode, Hercules from A+ Comics, because I covered this, you know, I got on a little kick of, let me see what else A+ Comics put out, you know, since I did research on the company for my video, and I ended up buying a few more things. I'll show you. So these arrived in the mail. Got these off of eBay. This is actually the first comic put out by A+ Comics. It's called Corbo, and it's before they actually named the company A+. This is from the company, what were they calling it at that point? Sword in Stone Productions. This was the only publication from it, February 1987, Corbo, Volume 1, Number 1. After this, they changed the name to A+ Comics and then started reprinting old Charlton comics. We can look at this at another time. You see on the back cover, Swords of Valor Number 1. Look at the Sun Warrior, Viking, Quest, and Bruce the Savage one. I don't know, it looks pretty cool. Samurai. Well, here's the Swords of Valor I got. Swords of Valor's Robin Hood from A+ Comics. Sam Glanzman. Look, 1991. See, he was still around, and he made new artwork for them, even though they were reprinting old Sam Glanzman comics from the 60s. And I got this particular one, Robin Hood, because I have a lot of old Robin Hood comics. I do love Robin Hood. So does my daughter. Now here we go. Here's another Swords of Valor. This one has a Frank Frazetta cover. And there's that Samurai. Buscema. Another A+ comic with a Frazetta cover. Adventures into the Unknown, number 1. And number 2 with another Frank Frazetta cover. Now, here's another A+ Comics first issue, Eric Kahn. Now, it's not a Frazetta cover, but you know what? It's based on one. Let me show you. Now, here's the new Frank Frazetta book from Taschen. I, of course, have mine signed by Sarah Frazetta and Holly Frazetta, Frank's daughter, Frank's granddaughter. And inside, you can see, here we go. This is called Winged Terror. It's from June of 1966. It was the cover of Creepy Magazine, number 9. And bam, look at that. Eric Kahn. You can see how it's very much inspired. Pretty cool, right? Okay. Then I also got this from A Plus Comics, Attack of the Mutant Monsters. It's like a giant generic Godzilla. Pretty cool. Godzilla, of course, comes from the atomic explosion here on the Atomic Comic Pile. Speaking of which, bam, the Atomic Mouse. It says first issue, but it also says number 3. So, I don't know. Pretty interesting. We can look at this at another time. So let's go back to why I brought you here. Elvira in Monsterland. Now it's pretty tiny compared to a regular comic. So let's see if I can zoom in on this. All right, let's check out this comic. We've got Elvira. We've got a mystery bad guy. We've got all of these Draculas. Man, check this out. We've got Bela Lugosi. We've got Nosferatu. We've got the grandpa from the Munsters. Is that Count Von Count? Wait, there's Count Von Count. Here's Dracula from Bram Stoker's Dracula, Francis Ford Coppola. There's Blackula. There's Count Chocula. Count Duckula. There's John Carradine. Wasn't he the last Universal Monsters Dracula? Was he the one with Abbott and Costello? Maybe that's Christopher Lee's Dracula from the Hammer horror films. He looks familiar from like a BBC production. I don't remember who the female is. He looks familiar. I think one of these guys is George Hamilton from Dracula Dead and Loving It. You guys know the rest of these? Pretty cool. All right, here we go. Elvira in Monsterland from Dynamite. Special thanks to Cassandra Peterson. That is Elvira herself. I've met her, got a picture with her. I think I have an autograph. I'd have to check. Somewhere in Hollywood. Always start with an establishing shot. Yep. Gonna be a comedy. She's watching the original Bela Lugosi Dracula from 1931. And who appears but the real-life Vlad the Impaler. And he's come to kidnap the movie Dracula. And let's see. Agent Grant, the interdimensional space-time cop. There has been ongoing Elvira comics and miniseries for the last 5 years, since 2018, from Dynamite. But I don't have any of those. This is my first foray into the world, and they touch on all of the adventures she's been on in the previous miniseries. So the one that preceded this was one called Elvira in Horrorland, where she bounced around to different horror movies. Well, this one's Monsterland. She's going back to, well, they're also horror movies, but they're the original, Universal monsters. So this first issue is going to have all the various Draculas. Issue 2 is Frankenstein. Then there's going to have a werewolf, mummy show up. She talks about Red Sonja and Vampirella having their own comics. I've got a bunch of those. In fact, they're even teamed up in a comic. Okay, so now she's jumping into movies. She goes black and white. She's trying to, let's see, track down Vlad, maybe stop him. Here's, now we're into a color film. Couple of Draculas at each other's throat. No, one of them's Renfield at Dracula's throat. That looks like Christopher Lee. Must be the Hammer horror film. And Vlad shows up, kidnaps him. Now they're off to another Dracula. Okay, so we've got 13 pages of story, and then it goes into an explanation of what this series is all about, where they've been, where they're going. So this must be like a preview of what to expect when the full issue comes out in a month. Pretty cool. And the cover gallery. I like this. So they have a photo cover. They have some covers actually signed by Cassandra Peterson. This is going to be a really cool series. Okay. If you like it, check it out. Elvira in Monsterland. Oh wait, before you go, check out this comic I drew in the mid-90s. Count Dracula versus Count Chocula and Count Von Count. That's pretty cool.